Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Hassel's Review. And as you can tell, this week I got a special guest. I got Mr. Daniel Garcia, publisher of DANG Comics, creator of Cyber Ronin, Atomic Vamp, Laser Wolf. Too many to. He's got several more. We'll all get into all that right there pretty shortly. Thank you for being here with us today, Dan. Before we get too far into the show, let's hit the old meat and taters of everything. Let's give a special shout out to Geek Network and Metal Ninja Studios. We are proud members of the Geek Network Podcast Syndicate, not to be confused with the Sinister Syndicate, because they're assholes. We're not. We're lovable people. So, Dan, man, how you been doing, brother?
Doing really well, man. Thanks for the invite. It was good to talk to you during the week and set this up. I appreciate it. I know how busy you are.
Some days are pretty trying, but I'm happy to have you here. It's been far too long since we've had you here. For those of you guys that follow the Dirty Man Room show and have been our longtime viewers, you've seen Dan on our show several times. We've done some lives with him. We've had him down here. We actually got him to South Georgia. Almost captured him a few times and had some autograph signings and whatnot when Cyber Ronin was kicking off. But tell us what you got going now, Dan, because Cyber Ronin is. You've done that. Now we're moving into the next phase, which is phase 2 of DANG Comics. So what you got in the phase 2 here?
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it, Hassel. Yeah, we did Cyber last year. Did okay. The comic did all right. The Kickstarter did pretty good also. Wasn't what I had expected, honestly, but well worth it for the first Kickstarter. Launching that and just kind of getting the feel for it. And a lot of people came out to support down there at Kevin's storefront.
Shameless plug. I saw these on collectibles at 305 Main Street, Tiffin, Georgia.
Yeah. So a plug for Kevin and his awesome family. It was great being down there. Kevin had asked me to come down one more time, and I just couldn't make it that last the last time after the second visit, and it was I really wanted to be there to support his store again, and there was some great stuff going on. You guys always have something happening over there in your neck of the woods. There's always something pop culture related, which is great. And then we rolled out of that, and then I figured, let me kind of recoup where things kind of left off with Cyber after printing and shipping and everything. And we launched a second Kickstarter last year in November. It ended in December. And we're almost done with all of the pages on that. That was the Atomic Vamp book, along with Laser Wolf. And it's like 2 issues in one. So we made 20 pages of Atomic and then 10 pages of Laser Wolf. That Kickstarter did a little bit better, and I think I have an idea why in my own mind of why it did better. And then now we're all, as I mentioned, we're almost done with the coloring, almost done with the letters, and the next thing is just printing, getting the book all wrapped up, printing and shipping. Hopefully by the end of June we'll get it shipped out, and then we're rolling into our next project. And for this one, as I mentioned, I want to do like 1 or 2 books. I want to do like 2 books a year, Hassel, which I think is pretty feasible for someone that has a 40+ hour a week job. So I think it's pretty feasible for that.
But believe me, I understand your woes there.
Yeah, so I think a lot of us that do this as a love and a hobby, and to kind of want to print comics and make comics that have full-time jobs. Everyone will tell you how difficult it can be, and so we hooked up with this really great guy, Trevor Metz from Crossfire Comics. And we kind of just hit it off. And I know you and I were kind of talking about that during the week, but we hit it off and we had a lot in common in terms of comics. And he's like, hey, why don't we do an anthology? And we just kind of do some like really great like graphic novel style books where we do more graphic and not so cartoony or so kiddie, but geared more towards adults, like NC-17 kind of thing. So we partnered up with a lot of great artists. Alan Goldman from Justice League actually did 10 pages for me of Fast Girls. The Freedom Action Strike Team is what I called it, the Fast Girls, and the team is predominantly females. He did the first 10 issues of that. It came out amazing. Where we have someone doing colors on it now. I'm testing out some different colorists to see which one looks the best. And then we're doing Night Vamp also. Instead of Atomic Vamp, it's Night Vamp. And this story was drawn by Marcelo Salaza, which is a great artist. He's a great independent artist. We have Marcelo
Super
Mueller.
awesome guy. Super awesome guy.
Yeah, we got Marcelo Mueller, who did like he did some pages also. Then I got Sean Joyce, who did Conan back in the 70s. He's doing
Oh, wow.
he's doing like 20 pages also. So he's on page number 4 right now. And he's knocking out 20 pages of the book too. So then on Crossfire's side, on Trevor's side, he's doing something called Dark Ops, which is in I won't give away too much, but it's kind of like a military style Suicide Squad kind of book with a lot of like great military action. So if you're a fan of the 90s extreme books, this will be the title for you, because we got a lot of great extreme stuff. And then he's also doing one more book in this giant anthology. It's going to be a 40-page comic book. So it's 40 pages is pretty good for a comic. It's like two yeah,
very
it's pretty
good.
He's doing another book called Demon Hunter. So between the both of us, we got all our art, we got everything together. I got a bunch of pinups, everything from rated R to PG-13. And some people that have done the pinups for us were like Greg Bow, which I know is he's famous on Facebook and on social media. Is pretty famous with Gwen and colors. Got Marissa Pope to do a cover for me too. I got some Marvel artists to do some covers for me. So Alan Goldman did a cover for me. So it's huge. It's huge. And the good thing is that now I have someone to help me collaborate from a financial needs also. So this guy's he's a beast around the computer, and he could do logos, he could do designs, and we got most of that stuff covered. So I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be in better shape.
That sounds really exciting, like, because that I enjoy that type of kind of like the Marvel Max, a little bit more of an extreme. It sounds like so I enjoy that the more adult storytelling versus the. I mean, that you have like I just interviewed the guy that created the Glopple, kid friendly, great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
There's a certain spot in each comic store for all these things. Although I would say yours is probably top shelf, so the kiddies can't reach it. But it sounds fun. It's really fun.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. It's he's a big fan of Trevor's a big fan of the extreme 90s stuff. So we're trying to just bring that stuff back and not get so caught up in a lot of what's happening now on the political side of things on comics, and just trying to make things fun again. And we got some superhero stuff around the corner also that's a little more, like you and I are both huge Spider-Man fans. We're big Ghost Rider fans. So like, I want to just do stuff that people just enjoy that people enjoy to read, and visually stimulating also. So.
Or to be an escape from reality. That's to me, that's what comics was always for. Even as a young kid, it's an escape from reality. It's not. You don't got to worry about today's problems. It's what the fuck's going on with Peter Parker.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I was talking to a buddy of mine on Facebook. His name is Michael Williams, and he did something. He did this book titled Wild Oni a couple months back. He did pretty good on Kickstarter also, and we were talking about that today, about it being an escape. And he's actually writing some stuff for us too, and he said it. He goes, "Man, if I can't write comics, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself." So because it's such an escape, So
it's a far bigger challenge than what people anticipate. You can't just say, "Oh, I can't write comics." I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. It's a far bigger challenge than what a lot of people would anticipate, I would imagine.
It's huge, man, and that you and I have talked hell till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, writing, trying to write
Many
stuff.
times.
And many times, man, and you know that just as well as I do, man. Like one little hiccup, it'll derail you. Life gets in the way. I know how that is, man.
It'll a gimmick called Bills in Life. It just wants to keep me from being a comic writer at some point.
Yeah, man. Like just like you said, it's like we said, we both said it. Like it has to hit the right time at the right moment, and then like for me, I gotta 60-hour-a-week job, like fighting crime during the day, and then my escape is comics at night. And you try to like, bring all that into your personal life and your professional life to mix them together. And then there's hours where, we both you have a wife, I got a girl, it's like, they want to spend time with you, and you got to do your other hobbies.
They're weird about that sort of thing. They're like, hey, I kind of like you. I'd like to spend a little bit of time with you.
I'd like
It's
to see you a
weird.
moment or two. Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, man. So it's, things are good. Things are good. Just busy, but a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I haven't been posting a lot on social media. I haven't really been posting a lot. I've been trying to stay low key, and then just kind of, I noticed something, Hassel, that when I start posting a lot of information on my regular Dang Comics or Daniel Garcia page on Facebook, it like awakens the beast, man. Like suddenly people start coming out of the woodwork that you haven't talked to in years, and like, hey man, what's going on? And they would hold on full conversations with you, and I'm like, I don't mind, that's great, but like, I want to be low key for right now, and that's kind of like just do my thing behind the scenes and get this stuff going, So
That's where you turn the reins over to Fox and say, okay, you control everything.
yeah, man, and she's a killer, man. I'll tell you, I haven't talked to her in a while, but she keeps me on point, man. She's she's talented. She's talented, and she's just a really good person too. So she's really helpful.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, we're talking about Foxfoot Craft. She's out of Tifton, Georgia, as well, or Valdosta to Tifton. She's always at our sponsor, the Zone Collectible Shop, and she does a lot of behind the scenes work for Dang Comics and helps Dan out a tremendous amount. So we will give you a little plug, lady. You're great.
Yeah.
She actually designed the logo that we have for the Nerdy Man Room show. So
Yep. Shout out to Fox. She's a good person.
did you notice the new logo for Hassel's Review? Have you seen it?
No, do you have it? Are you able to show it to me now?
Yeah, I'll let me shoot it over to you. Our awesome ass family over at Metal Ninja Studios, they hooked me up, and we got some stuff in the works for Nerdy Man Room show as well. But yeah, I finally got a good updated logo for House's Review.
Very good.
There you go.
All right.
Thought I sent it to you, but
all right. I can't wait to. Well, I'll take a look at it once the show's over.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, we kind of, I guess I'm bending your ear here. I know your time is money.
No, you're good, buddy.
By the end of this year, obviously we'll have Laser Wolf, Atomic Vamp. Is Night Vamp by the end of the year, or is that going to be into your 2025 time frame?
I have everything done, man. I literally just need colors and some inks, and then obviously letters. But all the books are done, and then Sean, as I mentioned before, Sean Joyce has to do. He's knocking out a bunch of books right now, man. And this guy, you got a chance to check him out. As I mentioned, he did some Conan stuff like in the 70s and the 80s, I believe. And he's just a busy guy. He's working on some Star Trek stuff earlier. Everything is done. I'm only waiting on him to finish his stuff. And now with, I think, a faster production piece of it, I'm not knocking Fox. I know she does whatever she's capable of doing within reason, because whatever I give her, she gets done. But with this guy at Crossfire, he has his own studio. He's able to do everything on his own. So I suspect that things will be done, and we'll probably get books into people's hands by, if we launch at the end of June, July, August, September, I would imagine that towards the end of the year, maybe fourth quarter, we'll have books in people's hands.
Wow.
Yeah, because that's my goal. My goal is two titles a year if I can. But as you know, financially, that could be draining. So, like, if we're able to get a lot of backers and a lot of supporters that can help us get these books launched, this kicks the crowdfunding done, the easier it is for all of us at the end of the day, because then we could roll right into title after title. So, and then the main idea behind it was when Trevor and I were talking was something like you and I, man. It's similar to like conversations that you and I have had in the past, which is I like the idea of Cyber Ronin. Cyber Ronin I thought was something I had thought of for a while. Great, okay, cool. But I like the idea of putting into people's hands all of our ideas. I don't know if that makes any sense, and not being pigeonholed into just going, look at this book, and this is all we're going to do. Because I have so many thoughts. You have thoughts. I got thoughts. I got ideas. And putting that into an anthology, kind of like a heavy metal magazine, and saying, this is what we thought of this month. Check it out. And then later on, being able to wrap up that story that you thought of a couple months ago. And then, being able to do, here's issue 2, 3, or 4. And it's all an anthology and it's done. But just getting onto paper and getting an idea out there and going, this is all the stuff I've ever thought about. Here's a 60-page magazine or a book. Here you go.
And that could also kind of like cure your creator ADD at the same time. It's like,
exactly.
This way you get, I can fix this niche, I can do this niche, I can do this niche, and then, oh, you know what? Next month I can circle back around and hit my bullets, and
Right. Yep. And then just keeping it all like you and I have just talked a lot about like the Rock Wraith story, right? So I could knock out Rock Wraith, I could throw in your characters, I could put in, and just it's just all the ideas are culminating now into like one big book, one big like 40 to 60 page comic book, where like you could just read and go, oh, this story's cool. Maybe we even have a poll at the end that says, which are your favorite titles, and then base it off of that, and then you do that again next time, but really getting back into like the Image comic days, like to the heavy metal days when like you just wanted to crank stuff out for everyone's enjoyment, and not and then obviously there'd be some follow up with it, because it's great to read Spider-Man 1 through 300. That's great, sequentially, but I think there's also something cool about being able to read people's ideas and putting them on the paper. So
it sounds a lot like a very interactive, like I said, heavy metal. Well, that was a great magazine back in the day, or Marvel Comics Presents, where you got the flip side. So, you had half a story of this and half a story of that, and then each, bi-weekly, you got the other portion of it or whatnot.
Right. Yep. And then we want to do the Night Vamp story. We're thinking of keeping it, and the Demon Hunter, we're thinking about keeping it in black and white, which is unheard of nowadays. But we wanted to call it the Savage Blade magazine, and then we're going to have the Savage Strike Force magazine. So you have like your military 90s extreme, then you have like your Conan-esque type Dungeons and Dragons sword and sorcery stuff. So kind of like 2 books, a bunch of pages, and a lot of fun. So that's kind of what we want to make it. We want to have
I think between Conan and The Walking Dead, there's a proven format, the black and white, it works.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I mean, black and white, and not to sound cheap, but financially, you're talking about. Listen, and if you do gray tones, because I want to do gray tones for my book, I want to have gray tones with red blood. It's still, you're still paying a colorist to do the colors for you. It doesn't matter how many colors it is, but it still keeps that old style, like fun black and white sword and sorcery stuff.
I like that right there, because like I said, Conan, Walking Dead, the Ninja Turtles initially, all these books were black and white with limited color, whether it be blood and whatnot. So I'm digging that right there. I kind of like that. How many are you still going to circle back around maybe in the next year into Atomic Vamp 2 and so forth and so on? Or are they going to transition into the anthology?
They'll transition to the anthology along with Cyber Ronin. So then you'll be able to get like, I'm considering rewriting Cyber and still keeping the character kind of the way that he is, but I'm considering rewriting him a little bit. I have someone that's actually helping me with that, and he's a good writer, and he's been giving me a lot of good ideas on things that we can do in the near future. When I created the Cyber Ronin character, not everyone, a lot of people were like, "Oh wow, it's great! It's kind of original," and I think it did really well in terms of getting out there, people could see it. But then when it came time to fund it, you'll be surprised at like the 5,000 Facebook friends that you have, how many that translates into people that are actually backing you. So it's interesting to see that. And shame on me, I should have done my homework, but. You're like, oh, wow, I got 5,000 Facebook friends. I'll do something with this.
Obviously.
Right. Well, all of them want to pitch it and help out the crowdfunding. And that's just not what sells on Kickstarter, man. It's just not. If you look at any typical Kickstarter, I don't. It's not. There's no magic plan to it. I think if you just look on what gets funded, I should say, on Kickstarter, um, there's a formula behind it. So, and that wasn't a part of the formula, but it's fine. Live and learn.
I say it was probably very valuable. Well, I say valuable, but a very a valuable learning curve, so to speak, or costly learning curve, if nothing else. So I know you and I discussed, some of, what you had into things when you got to just figuring up, like tallying up over the year, like, ooh, that I got. And that's some of the things that a lot of creators I probably, they either don't take it into account, or it may be the overthinkers that's what they do take into account, and they're scared to take that step. So
Yeah.
what would you say to the creator out there who maybe is scared to take that step because they're overthinking the financial aspect of it? I mean, within
I,
reality.
I think that's a good question, and I was gonna kind of volunteer my thoughts on that before you asked, only because I think it's important that whoever's watching this, or just for us to know and to kind of talk through, I think it's important that people understand that a financially it's taxing. It's no pun intended. It's a wallet draining experience. Unless Hassel, you can draw, you can color, you can ink, and you can letter your own work. If you're that kind of person where you have those four qualities, you're good. Then what you're spending is your time. To me, time is more valuable than money. Why? There's a lot of reasons why, right? There's a lot of reasons why. I won't get
Only
into
so many hours in the day.
man, and there's only so my life has a certain has a time limit on it, right? So like it's our time is more limited than I think a financial aspect of it would be. So a if you can't if you can't pencil, ink, letter, and color your own stuff, and you can do one or two of those things, you're already ahead of the game. Before any of that, you have to have the drive and the passion to do it. If you're not I've known plenty of artists that I'm like, man, you could work for one of the smaller independent titles, or even just, you may not make a lot right out the gate, but you're good enough to put yourself out there. Oh, I don't have the time for it. I'm like, all right. So the old adage goes, hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle. So if you're a hustler and you could be out there and you're working hard, and you could draw kind of good. You're not great, but you're all right, and you're hustling, and you're out. Your passion is to do this. You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it,
I mean, Marvel employed Chris Boxello for years.
dude. I mean, listen, it's the hustle's there, man. If you can get out there behind it, and you're driven, and your passion is there for it, and you could do it. You're gonna do it. You're gonna do it. You're gonna find a way to get it done. Financially, if you partner up with someone that says, and this is big, if you partner with someone that says, oh man, let's get into this together, and the minute you say, let's do it, the pencil is charging me $120, you want to go halvesies with me, and that person says to you, oh man, I don't have any money, get out. Get out, dude. Get out and do it yourself. Get out. Oh, bro, but I'm in between work. I'll have a job next month and I'll be able to give you some money. No, that means you're doing it alone. So then if you can do it alone, if you can finance it yourself, then you got to do your homework. You got to find yourself a good artist. Hopefully that person does the inks too, right? So a good artist. I mean a pro. You're running anywhere between 180 to $200 for pencils and inks in some cases. If you want to get someone that's out there, but that may not be a pro with one of the big, the Marvel, DC's, Images, Dark Horses, whatever, $80 to $90 a page, and you want to hope that this guy's able to pencil and ink, or this gal's able to pencil and ink. So if you could afford that financially, go for it. So either you do it alone, or you find some people that will either give you ideas and that you all gel together, or that have the means to fund you and to help you with the finances of it. So it's taxing, man. It's tough. Then You're putting your book together. Your book is done. What about the colors? Now who are you going to get to color it? How about the letters? Who's going to letter your book for you? Who's going to produce the book for you? Who's getting on these podcasts? who's who's bending your ear to go, hey man, can I get on your show? Who's doing that? Who's doing all that? So there's a lot behind it. It's a lot. It's a lot. So my advice is be prepared financially and physically and mentally to put yourself into this. And then especially if you have someone that can help you, you've been super helpful. You and I, like I said before, man, we've got these long conversations about I want to do all this stuff. And I'm like, let's do it. And even with everything you have going on, you are in it. You're in it, man. Like you have that drive, you have that passion. You do this every day. I couldn't do what you do every day. This is you every day, bro. This is like once a week, twice a week. You're in it,
to the
bro.
max, baby. To the max.
You're in it, man. And that goes a long way, man. So that's my advice: is find someone that you could partner with that's in it just as much as you are, or do it by yourself. But be prepared financially and mentally to put yourself through some stuff.
You've given some great advice to these guys today, and guys and gals. Let me always be inclusive. Can't thank you enough. So tell everybody where they can find you at and find where they can go hit you up for your Kickstarters and when to expect these Kickstarters.
So I'm on Facebook, Daniel Garcia Comics, I believe it's, or just Dang Comics. Just type in Cyber Ronin, just follow the links to me, or anything with Atomic Vamp or Laser Wolf, and you're gonna find my stuff. I'm also on Instagram. I'm on X, formerly Twitter. Or you can just email me at danielgarciacomics@gmail.com. And I'm always, I love conversations with people. I don't mind conversing. I don't mind talking if they don't mind listening. So, and then.
Well, you're always interesting to listen to, so we don't mind listening.
Thank you, sir. And
I'm just proud you got a man room behind you at this point.
I do,
between
man.
U.S. agent there and everything, I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you for the advice, man. And then I'm hoping to put some more information out on. I told you I'm trying to be a little more low key, so on my page you may not find a lot, but you'll see stuff on some of the other creator-owned pages on Facebook, especially. There's some things that are connecting comic book writers and artists. I'm on there. Independent artists and writers, I'm on there also. So I'll probably start our campaign for our advertisements and stuff in closer to the end of June, probably mid-June. You guys will start seeing some really great artwork from some of these artists that I'm talking about, and we'll start getting out there with the Kickstarter.
That's what's up, brother.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, I said we can't thank Dan enough for being here, but before we get out of here, let's give a little shout out and some love to a few people. First of all, let's give some love to our sponsor, The Zone Collectibles, who Daniel is very familiar with, 305 Main Street, Tifton, Georgia, where they support unity through community, Phantoms Unite, and also our other sponsor, the Geek Network Podcast Syndicate. It's a mouthful to say, some people, so don't scoff at me when I screw it up sometimes. Geek Network, Metal Ninja Studios. Check them out. Blake's Buzz. All these guys are amazing. Fueled by Weird with Chris Daly. And we cannot not mention Big Rob's House of Entertainment and No Chinese Food, who was just on our episode. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it or not, Dan. We actually got Monster down to Georgia.
Yep.
And we had Monster finally under the same roof with me in front of the camera. And Big Rob was nice enough to come sit along with us, and we did a pretty awesome round table. We had a good time doing that. That's the first time it's ever actually happened all together.
That's
now
great.
He's off to a cruise with Cobra and his new lady and all this good stuff. So it is what it is. But thank everybody for being here today. Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for the invite, man. Always a pleasure.
Oh, anytime. Like I said, we enjoy you being here. Shout out to everybody. And also, don't forget, you're watching Hassel's Review, but go check our other show out, the Nerdy Man Room Show, with me and Monster. We do a weekly podcast as well. We're assholes, but we're lovable assholes. So go check us out. So with that being said, everybody, live long and prosper.
Boom. See you later, brother.
Peace.